So, I'm going to go into our sound effect manager, and I'm going to make a couple events here, and we'll be, or well, you could add on to these. Like you can just keep adding on to these, and you'll see why. But here we just have a simple lean hit and some audio plays, and I'm going to some sort of swooshing sound, something like that. And I'm just going to copy that guy over. Some kind of hitting sound. Yeah, something like that. These aren't going to matter, these little check marks, but I'll turn them off anyways. So now anytime from our code in our combat, anytime we want a sound effect, we can just call from our player data, which is a global, into this FSM to play sounds. Pretty simple. So now we can try to do, we'll set up our music real quick. I'm going to add 3 states, and we're going to do menu, battle, and location. And I'm just going to stuff them in there like that. And this is where we use these little things. So I'm going to use tween audio. So I want to tween this guy to, we'll say 0.75. We're not going to go full. 1 second's fine. And copy him, paste him, and I want this guy, oh, not that guy, the battle to go to 0. And I want the location to go to 0. And then I'm going to take all 3 of those, paste them in here, paste them in here. So this guy is obviously, that goes to 0. The battle goes to 0.75. And here we are going to add just a little bit of logic. So we have somewhere in here characters, weapons, monsters, battle maps, world locations, stats, our music table. And this is a hash table. So for example, we could do, we'll save one, we'll call this one world, kind of our default. Sure, good enough. Anyways, so the whole idea is now I can get event property, and these work like get and set event datas. I think they're newer. And we have the location, and it's going to be type string, and this is going to be our set location. We'll call it set location music, hash table get. Put it underneath that, and we want this thing, we want this key, it is of type audio, which is going to be type object, which from here we got to put it into audio, audio clip, and the result will be our audio clip. And from there, I'm going to go to our location guide. I'm just going to drag this thing in. And we want to audio, set audio clip of our location to our clip there that we just pulled out of the hash table. And we want to make sure it's playing. So I'm going to put this to none. Because once this is set in, playing this will tell it to play on here. This is already, these things are now set to loop and play on wake. So when we go to location, it's going to, we can set an event and tell it to play whatever music we want. So going into our state manager, the first thing we're going to want to do is actually set an event to ourselves, to the music manager, to play the menu. We now want make an event called Start Battle. That'll be there. This guy is going to get event properties. And we want two. We want say the monsters, and it's going to be a type game object. No, it's going to be type string, sorry. And the data is required monsters. And we want key battle map, and it's also type string, required map. So we get these event maps, and this is the battle map. Now, the battle map works slightly different. So we can now load level. There we go. I'm going to use number, because if we look in our build index, our battle is 2. Okay, so we know we want to go to scene 2. And for another effect, I want to fade out the camera. Just a quickly little bloop. And now we're going to a loaded level. So we're going to need another event over here. We're not going to actually do this one today because it's going to be a huge one. So one of the other things we're going to want, get position. We're going to get position. I'll actually move this up a bit, of a variable we don't have yet called our current player. And this is our last location. Alright, so now that we've gotten this, when we come in here, I'm going to do just a tiny little wait. I don't want the battle start just instantly. I want it just a little wait. And then from there, if we look into our list, we have battle maps, right? And should I have 3? Which is why you can make as many of these as you want. So we could say we have a dungeon, I have grass, I have mountains. So I can call these that, a dungeon, grass, and mountain. I'll just use the same names. I don't have to do that either, but it works. All right, so we know we're getting a battle map here. now we get that from our hash table. And this is why it's important when we create those battle maps, that we build them at 0, 0, 0, because we don't have to do anything now. We just create it. The other thing we want, though, is we want to hash table get whatever monsters we need. So we have a monster list, right? Now I don't think we've actually built any of those yet. But we need that. We need the required monsters. It is type game object set monsters. And down here we can now do another create. Move to the bottom. And we're just going to set them at also at 0. Pretty fancy, right? Because now, like, if we look at where our we have our Final Fantasy slots, and those are for that side. Those are for the players. Where the skeletons, like, okay, well, here, let's go into one of our battle maps here. Let's set this up right now. Let's save this. Let's open our battle scene, where we have our camera set up, right? And I can say, take our dungeon, drop it off here. So we have this. Now, if I create an empty, we're just going to put this guy right at 0. And for now, because we haven't done any logic on the actual monsters yet, but just to kind of, so that we have this somewhat set up, let's grab something anyways, just a character, so we can see what that is. Alright, so I'm going to turn these guys 90. I might raise them up just a tiny bit. Alright, so where do we want these guys? Like, I can put one here, say one there, I don't know, maybe one there, something like that maybe. And that works pretty much like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to create a couple of empties, because this is a template one, so we can duplicate it and actually fill it with monsters at some point in time. But there's our monster spawn template. Right, so now I go over to our prefabs. I'm just going to bring that in. Go like that. Now we don't need that, we don't need that. So let's go back into our main menu. So if I go down here now to our monster list. Now, like I said, we don't have, this is just a template, but I'm going to fill it in for now anyways. And you can call this anything, goblins, or maybe you want to say this is, you know, goblins A, and maybe you got 8 different types of versions of goblins, whatever. It's not going to matter, and you'll see why when we create those. So under this, so we create, like, we'll get whatever that is, and we create it, and then right at the end we're going to send an event. Well, actually, no, just to ourselves, to init, to initialize the battle. So this is going to be how we start battles. Alright, so one of the other things we're going to need also is a world map, and a load location. Make sure those are globals. So one of the load locations, get event properties. Now we have 3 of them when we want to load an actual location. We have the location, which is a type string. No, type integer, sorry. And this will be our set or get location. We want type music, and it's going to be a type string. And this will be to set music. And we want a world position. And that's going to be a type vector 3. I wonder if I'll double check that. So anyways, we get those. So again, we could, you know, fade our camera out because it's a pretty effect. And we wish to hash table get, and now we want from world locations the key is int get location. Why is my get location? It's an int. Whatever. So be it. So anyways, we get... Oh, wait, no. You know what? This one is supposed to be a string, I'm pretty sure. Alright, because we could say desert. Okay, no, it would be an int. Alright, and you could have scene 3, for example. So this guy is a string. Alright, let's go get location. Let's turn him into a string. Yes. Alright, so now we want to get location. It's a type integer. This is now going to be set location. This will be get location. So we get location, we get from the hash table, which is going to come back as an integer, and we now set location. We can now load level number of set location. Let's just use our loaded. So I am going to actually just push this up one state. And just finish. I'm going to get rid of this one here. And I'm going to move this guy up here. Because I believe we come in later on and actually can come in through this guy through 2 different ways. So it's important we kind of split this guy in half. So after we've loaded the level, we're going to want to, I'm just going to reset the property. We're going to use, say, music. And it is type string. And we're going to set it to set music and send event. And I'm doing it this way so it happens after we've loaded the level. This is the location. Alright, and I'm just going to finish that and do this in a different. Copy that guy. Paste, and we're going to set a. We'll use the same key. We use location, and it is string get location, and we're going to send event to ourselves for world map. Which, I mean, you could just drag it up here, right, and go, but there's going to be alternate ways to enter this as well. So this might seem almost excessive to go from here just to here with setting properties, but because this gives us now the ability to use this in two different ways. So now we need to get properties. Okay, no, I want this to be a world position. I want this to be actually a vector 3 to that guy. We're passing him over, sorry. So we want, of course, we want the same name or else it won't pick it up. And it's a type vector 3, and we're going to bring that straight over here. Which I know it seems kind of this weird way. It's almost like it's like, why are you doing it that way? It should just go automatically. The variable's already filled. But it allows us, doing it this way, it looks at it, it'll allow us to do some multiple things. Alright, so then after that, I'm just going to put a tiny little weight here. Just itty bitty. Nothing major. And down here, we are going to do a run FSM. And we have no FSM. So I like to build these on an empty for some strange reason. But this is what I do. Being a template, these get built a little odd. Actually, you know what? It might be easier to build it on this guy. That kind of gives us the ability to access some variables the easy way. Not that we're going to keep it here. This is just kind of where we're building it. So we want to get FSM game object. From, we have our data. So we have a battle HUD. No, we have a menu window. And we can call that our menu window. And we also need the player menu. I'm pretty sure anyways. If not, we'll delete it after. And the save and load. Right, so those are the actual game objects. The other thing we want to do is is null. And not string, I meant game object. So we'll get rid of the string. And we have what's going to be is our current character. Which is also, if we go over here, click on him, he's going to be an output. So if our current character is null, we have none. If it's not null, we have one. And if we have one, let's destroy it. Because I don't like having duplicates around here. We're going to destroy our current character. Alright. And you know what? One of the other things we're going to need is get FSM game op. No. Set game object. Is we have a another variable we haven't built yet, but we're going to build it anyways. A new global variable as our camera system. And actually, you know what? It's going to go the other way around. Where is our camera system? Oh, it's just called camera system, sorry. Camera system. And actually, you know what? I don't think we really even need to do that. As long as we have the global, I think we're okay. Yeah. Alright, so we want to create. We also need another input here as a vector. World position. And this one's going to be an input. So we want to create, you know what, we can probably make this as input too. This will be our a world character, which we haven't built that yet, but we will build that. So we want to build or create a world character at world position. Store this into our current character, just like that. So now that we have him, it's just going to be a matter of get key down, and we could use a get mouse button down like that. So if we get a mouse button down, let's just call it a click, and we can go this way. And if we get, we'll use I. You can use whatever letter you want. And we'll go this way. So I is going to be doing what? We want to is active. If, say, it's our menu window, this guy, that guy right there. No, you know what, we can probably do player menu. Let's do player menu. If player menu is active, non-active. Alright. Oh, I actually don't need those here. I just need the variable is active. I mean, I do need those events, just not in this state. So is active, right? So what we can do now is activate that guy here. We want to activate our, say, our player menu, and we're going to put it to the same as is active. Now, that's a little on the reverse side though, right? Because is this active? So if this is active, if it's true, then we're going to set it to true. We're going to activate it if it's active. That doesn't make any sense now, does it? So we're going to do this thing called bool flip, and we're going to shove this right in between them. There. So now if this is active, we flip it, this is now becomes inactive. And if it's inactive, this is true, this turns to false, or this will be true, so that turns to false, so that will deactivate. If game object is active, if active is true, it sets it to false. If it's false, it sets it to true. I think you know what I meant. Alright, so that's that. Here, I'm actually just going to copy this guy and bring him over here. Only now we're not using this. Now we're actually going to use the active events and the not active events. So if it's active, I'm just going to come back. If the inventory is open, I don't want to move the player. If it's not open, I am going to mouse pick. And 100 is probably fine. You can go up a little higher if you want. But we have a hit point, and we have a layer mask. We're going to use a layer mask. I'm going to make a layer if I don't already have one. I'll use ground. Just make whatever layer you can, like a grounding one. It doesn't matter. As long as you know we want a grounding layer. We can only click on a ground. Can't click on models. All right, so now that we have that, now we want to nav mesh sample position. This action might be in the pathfinding on the ecosystem. Well, anyways, we want to sample our hit point. Distance of 10 is probably fine. The nearest, the hit info we get back is returned. Okay, cool. Let's just go actually down here. And now let's set agent destination of our current character to the returned. And then we'll go back over here. Just like that. And now that we have this, we can now save template. We'll call it something like that, whatever. I'm not going to bother that. Now I can go down here and delete it. We don't need it. Go up into here, and now we can go like that. We pump that in. The world position is going to be that guy. And our current character, well, we just happen to have made that over here, right? Where did we have that? Pretty sure we got that somewhere. Oh, I think it was up here. We get position of them. Yeah, right there, our current player. So he needs to be an output, right? And that's what he is. All right, so there's that. So that's not too bad. I mean, that's some pretty light stuff. This one here, we're going to spend an entire episode on this one state. This state is an insane state that's got a whole whack of these. I think it's got like 3 of those, and they're all large. So it's a big one. But for now, there's that. So we also need to build our actual character, because we don't have that yet, right? Oh, you know what we never did? Is this guy here. World character. I'm going to put him as an input. Alright, so now I can go back. Alright, because now we need a player to actually create our world character. So we need to build him. So we'll see you in the next episode.